What's up, guys? It's Brendan here at the One Percenter podcast studio. We're live in Fountain Hills, Arizona. Guys, today I'm sitting down with my man Quade Foster. He's owner of a company called Radix Solar, okay? So you guys know we're in there the worst leaders in the history of time. Quade and Radix, they've cracked the code on leadership and building a sales team. So, number one, welcome to the show.
Dude, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Guys, so I'm gonna ask Quade a couple questions about how they've scaled, big things in the market today to look out for. It's gonna be badass. So number one, dude, tell them front to back. Well, first, tell them about what Radix Solar is all about. Like, if you had to dial it down to a mission statement and what your core values are and what your mission is overall. Like, if you could just break that down for us.
For sure. So when we started Radix, we had been through a couple unique experiences where I had some friends and some associates that I'd worked with for a really long time. And we were seeing this trend in the space where, and get it, this is like probably going to be a little bit different than maybe some of the other content that you guys have received, but historically sales guys spend a lot more than they make. Mm-hmm. Like as sales guys, we like nice things. It's the reason we get into sales. Exactly. And so you start to every time you go make more money, it is getting you to this lifestyle that you always dreamed of. The problem
100%.
is that along the way, sometimes you get to this place where it just flips a little bit, where all of a sudden you've gotten this place where you're spending more money than you have the ability to bring in, and you find yourself in this oh shit moment. But a lot of times you've put yourself in these situations where those are long-term financial commitments that you've made without the ability to know how to go build an asset class that's actually getting you there month over month. So you get a place where you're like, hey, I need $30,000 a month to live.
Yeah.
You're like, and I make that some months or most months, but maybe not always. And so because of that, when we started Radix, it was really foundationally like, hey, we want to go change the culture of this direct sell space, where we're teaching people, and platform how to go make money, but also the education of sales guys on the back end on how to go build a sustainable foundation so that whatever you're making month over month is just the base. Yeah. And then everything else after that, you're able to go dominate with.
That's powerful because that's one of the main reasons that, your team looks up to you and that I thought to even bring you out here in the first place. Because I talk to people daily who have that same situation. They've had good months, they've had bad months, they have a certain amount of money in the bank. That money does not support their lifestyle for more than a month.
Dude, I remember literally sitting down with a kid and he was like, well, he's measuring his ability to buy something based on how many sales he can get. Right, so he's like, well, dude, if I just get 3 sales this month, I can pay for that. Exactly. And it's like, oh man, that is the recipe for disaster.
And you know what the funny thing is? Here's what I've learned about this situation, right? People, when that happens, they go, man, I'm stressed out. I'm feeling burnt out. I just don't want to continue. You did it to yourself. It was it was the choices that you made that you feel like you're trapped now. When in reality, if you would have started off with the right foundation, you would have bought assets first, and now you're in a good position, you wouldn't have that feeling. You'd actually be outselling even more because you spend less time stressing out. Right?
It's almost like that. And I get it sometimes, and that's unfortunately where we've gotten in maybe some disputes is, I get it as a sales leader. It's tempting to want to be in that mindset where hey, if my guys feel like they have to go sell, then they're going to go out and sell and perform higher because they put themselves in a situation that they have to go sell.
Exactly.
Where I believe, and one of our core foundation is that people are loyal to progress. Yeah. If they're watching the quality of their life improve and progress, then they're going to stay loyal to that, because the reality is if not, you end up with this really toxic culture where people come and go, all just based on the dollar amount that's coming into their pocket today or tomorrow.
You just wrapped up 90% of solar companies and a lot of car dealers. I mean, every industry that sees this is resonating with that because no one ever teaches them, right? I come from the car business, and my managers were like, hey, we had a good week Saturday night. Let's go to the casino. Very bad habit. And
but dude, it's normal in sales leader culture to think that way. Yeah. Because it's kind of the short term. What's the right way to say it? It's like the short term way to go get motivation out of your people.
Nailed it. It's like a quick dopamine rush. Yeah. It's like, hey, make more money so you can drive a more expensive car. You're thinking long term versus short term. So to sum it up though, your goal is you started Radix in mind to help a young or somebody who's later on in life and like doesn't have much time left, but wants to create a financial future. You want to help that person not only learn how to sell and make money and have a sustainable income, but also build wealth.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's it. Like we have the right platform mixed with the right product. We had to go find the product that could generate the right cash to really go speed that process up for people.
So what's your background? Like, walk them through from start, like what made you decide to start a company like that versus just continuing doing what everybody else was doing, which is sell, buy expensive shit, 50 grand a month in bills. Like did you have an experience in your life where you were in that situation and you know what it feels like? Or did you just have the wisdom to like learn from what everybody else was doing?
Kind of both. So when I was 18 years old, I went out and did door-to-door for the first time. Previous to that, the only jobs that I knew were like hard labor, like farm work, coming from Idaho. But for me, jumping into the sales world, excuse me, it really opened, like for most people that watch this, like the second you jump in and you're around like-minded people where they're driven, they're motivated, like, and that's like within you, all of a sudden it brings that out, right? It was just like, no, like that is who I am internally, like I can feel it. And so I want to put myself in a situation to go succeed. And I knew that immediately. The second I walked into my first sales meeting in Houston, Texas, it was just like, this is it. This is like what's been inside of me that's like, that I didn't even necessarily know. Like I had glimpses of it in different settings with sports or whatever it was where I was competitive, I was driven, but really being able to go monetize that in the sales world was huge for me. So jumping into that world, like when I went out and sold door-to-door when I was 18 years old. I did it for 2 years. I worked at Apex, which that'll age me for anybody that's watching the podcast because that was Vivint before it was Vivint. So I did that for 2 years. And then I went and served a 2-year service mission in Argentina, which was also fundamentally for me, like in my leadership journey, that was huge.
Were you getting paid during? You don't get paid during.
No, you don't get paid during that time.
What made you want to do that after 2 years of selling?
It was tough. Like it was.
Did you put away a lot of money in the bank?
I did.
I
had a two successful years. I come from a pretty conservative background, so I didn't naturally. It's probably more of like a, what's the right word? The opposite of abundant. Like that's
just scarcity mindset.
See, that word's not even in my vocabulary anymore.
Exactly.
Because we think so abundantly. But a scarcity mindset, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to go replicate that again. So I just kind of hoarded the money.
Yeah.
And then come to find out, that's obviously not the case. But yeah, I had hoarded a bunch of money over those couple of years and went and did a 2-year service mission. And when I came back, I was totally different.
You were ready to freaking attack.
Ready to roll. Yeah, ready to roll. It was good. It was a good time.
So from there on, what happened? Like, you took another door-to-door job, right?
Yeah, so I went back to the same company. Over that time, Apex had rebranded as Vivint.
Yeah.
And I went in and that was where I jumped into my first steps in leadership. So I went from being a sales guy to like having the desire to want to go lead a sales team. Yeah. I did that for 2 years at Vivint. And honestly, that was like, I owe a lot of who I am today to the leaders that kind of took me under their wing at that time and who I got to watch and learn from. A lot of them are the leaders of door-to-door today. Yeah. But during that time period, there was something inside me that just like was telling me, hey, you need to go do something different. And so I ended up switching. And for those that are in the door-to-door space, it's definitely a recruiting game.
Yeah.
And I was doing a lot of recruiting. And maybe honestly, it was probably a reflection of my leadership at the time. I was not retaining a ton of people. And probably a mixture between on one hand, like my ability to go lead those people correctly.
Yep.
And on the other side, it was the product that I was selling. Like for whatever reason, it wasn't paying people as quick.
You're referring to alarms?
Alarms, yeah. So when I was selling alarms, it wasn't getting people cash fast enough. Yeah. And I was just watching people drop like flies. So for me, and I know everybody's journey is differently, for me, I wanted to go jump into a product where I could get guys paid a little bit faster.
Yeah.
And so jumped over, spent some time in the TV world. So this is like an ancient dinosaur in door-to-door. But we were selling direct TV contracts.
Love it, dude.
We'd literally drive around the country, find dish contracts, switch them over, and we'd get guys paid $200 or $300 at a time. And At that point, that gave me a platform to go lead in. My group went from 1 team to 4 teams to 7 teams to 10 teams to 14 teams over the course of 4 years.
You were in alignment. Like
Yeah.
you found something where people got paid. You felt that it was fair. I always tell people, like, I can't do something if I don't feel good about doing it.
Yeah.
It's like I can never sell a product I don't believe in. Anytime I sold something that my belief wavered, I was terrible.
Yeah.
You put me at something that I believe in, I like explode.
It is cool to go see that. They're like, once you find the right product in the right arena for you, because I think we can all agree that that's not the same for everybody. But when you find the right product in the right arena that you can go compete in, like it's like the universe delivers, and it delivered in a big way for me over those 4 or 5 years.
So who were your mentors during that time? Did you like, you know, we're in the digital age, right? So 3 years ago when I went online to look for help, I didn't have good mentors around me. My mentors were go to the casino, you know what I'm saying? And like, oh man, you know, you make 10 grand, 20 grand a month, you're good. You don't need to work any harder. Did you find people online, or were you just, was there certain people that you were around, or, you know, where was your guidance from?
Yeah, same. Like, dude, this was 12 years ago.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, it wasn't like there was groups like there is today with like the Elliott group or whatever, you know, to go seek out content. I mean, for me, it was like Brian Tracy, you know, just like, and Grant Cardone, just like reading books that existed back in the day. That was the only way to go get that knowledge. But for me, I was blessed with incredible management at that time.
I love it. Okay, so let's say you're an individual rep, right? You told me earlier that you have 400 reps currently hitting doors, right? What can the average guy expect to make starting out? Like, what would you say is what do you consider like average for a solar rep to earn, and like just like financial goals to hit, and what do you see as like exceptional and stuff like that?
That's a good question. So it really depends on what program you're in. We have a 4-month summer program, which I know there's some companies that offer that and some that don't.
Yeah.
We have a 6-month program and we have a 12-month program. And obviously, depending on what time commitment you're looking to go attach to this thing, like if you're going to burn your ships and move to a market and commit year round, you can obviously expect that your income is going to be higher.
So wait a minute. So if I go, I'm joining Radix for the rest of my life, do they get a 12-month contract?
Yeah. So
and then they just re-sign year over year. Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah. So we'll go.
That's awesome.
We'll go say, okay, you're gonna be in a 12-month contract. We'll go pick a market for you. We'll go decide what leaders are the best that fit what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
But we started, like, our base is a summer sales company. Like, that's where we started. The hard part is people give you, like, once you start with that identity, you work like a dog to try to fix that identity, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're kind of holding on to it. Like, those are our roots. We're really proud that that's like what built our business.
Yeah.
But at the same time, some people that hear Radix, they think, oh, it's just a 4-month program. Like, no, we have dogs that grind year round, that compete with the very best that are in the space. And so it's kind of interesting when you get tagged with that. And so I think it's important, like, when I have the opportunity to come on and say, hey, no, Radix is not just a 4-month thing. Like, we're 4 months, 6 months, 12 months, pick your program, and it ranges. But dude, so just to give you an idea, like, we went and ran these numbers as we're rounding out the year. Our top guys are $1.5 million plus.
This is in sales, or is this leadership?
This is sales. This is just sales commission.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And this guy's to the penny with data. He's a very analytical guy. So to hear that means they're making it.
They're making it.
Several guys making $1 million plus, which is great, dude.
Dude, it's cool. And the thing is we are big in the data, because people will come out and give you averages, but numbers can always be skewed. It really is like, okay, well, what is the data? And so for us, anytime we post numbers, these are guys that have completed a program. $1 million plus
income earners. Do you have a lot that have been selling for less than, like, how long have they been with the company? Have they been selling for 10 years?
No.
Are they new?
Like, Radix has only been started for 4 years.
4 years.
So some of these guys have previous sales experience in car dealerships or maybe in door-to-door. Right. But like, anybody that we're talking that's in that range, like new to solar, like they've never knocked doors for solar before.
Yeah.
The guys I'm referring to in particular are 2 and 3 years.
2 and 3 years in. Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy.
Freaking nuts. What about average? So that's like great. Like, those guys are, Those guys close their own deals.
Yep.
Those guys are on their way to becoming leaders in the company.
Yep.
Clearly committed, not wavering in belief.
Yep.
What about like average, and then, what do you expect a guy to make at the bottom of the board,
So coming out into a 4-month program for us, we expect our guys to make between $25,000 and $50,000.
Yeah.
Like on the low end, if a guy comes out in 4 months.
Yeah, that can be life changing for anybody who has been in a 9-to-5 or is in school. To make 25 to 40 grand in 4 months, you're like, holy fuck.
It really is, and I mean, everyone can go flaunt these numbers, but like this is real data. Yeah. I'm saying like real data. We expect on the low end a guy that comes out and completes our program 25 to 50 grand.
This is the great separator right here. This is exactly the point that I'd love to drive home. Payable commission is what we're talking about.
Yes.
We're not referring to made this, but after.
No, this is like in their bank account.
Installs got involved.
1099.
No chargebacks.
Yeah.
This is like what they took home.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. And that's one of the reasons I want to bring you on, because I talked, like I was telling you over lunch, I talked to so many people who never get paid on their deals. And I just want to know, like, what do you feel like has made you successful, and what's the difference between a solar company that's not making it and then a solar company that's like growing like yours is,
And again, I know that this doesn't rub everybody the right way, but it's just truth for us. Sales guys like nice things, but as a business owner, it's important that you are somewhat conservative. Like the reality is we have 400 sales guys, but then we also have another 75 to 80 W2 employees that need a check every single week. Right? And so it's important that you're not risking everything in your business on black every week.
Exactly.
And so, which I totally get that there's some business owners that's just the way they operate. They're just constantly
living on the edge.
And honestly, for a long time and in certain periods, guys like that can exponentially go in. You go talk to any installer that's ever installed our jobs, we sell really good business. Our book of business is clean. Operate like from the very beginning, the way that we are teaching our guys to go sell the product, like they're solid customers. So you go to anyone that knows, I think that's one of the things I'm most proud of in this space, our reputation, is we sell really good business. Mm-hmm. And because of that, we're like on the top of the list to go get paid first.
Exactly.
So today, in about half of our markets, we install the product in-house. Right. And in the other half of the markets, we do rely on other build partners to go install that for us. And I know other companies that are begging to get paid by these installers.
100%.
And we're at the top of their pay list because they want our volume. And they know that if they pay us, that we'll continue to feed them, and the accounts they get from us are very good. Yep. So the quality of the sale that comes in the door definitely separates our group from the rest.
Money. And I mean, we always say this: if you put money over relationships, you'll have neither. If you put relationships over money, you'll have more money you know what to do with.
Dude, that's
so
cool.
It's just treating people right, it's a code. So that's really badass. So I want to know a couple more things. So what do you do as far as a rep who has made that kind of money? Like, say he's made 500, 600 grand with you in a year, right? What do you do to help that person build the wealth on the back end?
Group. It was just like, there's the second that you walk into the organization, the people that you're with, like you can just feel it. It's just what you do and what you say and how people act.
Exactly.
And or it's like every person has their own personality, and culture is the personality of all of those together. And so as a business, very intentionally, like, it's what we talk about. When you walk in the office, you're going to hear people talking about the triplex that they just put an offer on. You're going to hear them talk about the swing trading that they were doing. That's what you hear and talk about the second you walk into the building. So that's one piece of it. But we also knew that there was a for me and for a lot of guys like me, I think you came from a similar background.
Yeah.
When you start to make really good money, the reality is you don't necessarily know what to go do with it.
Amen.
I love my parents to death. They gave me the best childhood that they could.
Yeah.
But it wasn't someone my dad wasn't someone that I could go to ask for investing advice, because he just wasn't there.
It's like rich dad, poor dad. It's like
100%.
You didn't have that person who was wealthy, and these are two separate ways of thinking, right? And like the point we were talking about, you have salespeople know how to make money, but most salespeople do not know how to build wealth. Those are two separate things.
You have to learn to make money, you have to learn to manage money, and you have to have both if you're ever going to keep it.
Exactly, dude. Yeah. And it goes back to like progress. You said the most important thing for a person to stick with your company is making progress. If every year they're getting richer, they're getting more passive income, they're feeling better about generating.
They're loyal. They're going to stay.
Where they're going, yeah, they're going to be with you for life, dude.
So two last quick things, and this will be a plug, and we can see here. But one of the things we did was, from the very beginning, this is COVID, mind you. We started our business you could not have started a business in the worst time than COVID, 2020.
That's around the time the Elliott group started.
Yeah, there you go.
During COVID. It must be like the magic time for some people.
Dude, it weeded out a lot of people, right? It weeded a ton of people out.
The other companies that are quitting right now, like that are currently going out of business in solar, didn't start during COVID. Because it's always like, you were in it for the long game. You were in it for impact, and you weren't in it for income, immediate income.
Yep, 100%. So that very first year, we could only have 75 people there, but we did what we called a wealth building conference, where we just took our employees. We said, hey, we're going to bring in speakers, and we're just going to go just teach basic wealth building principles about how to manage your taxes and how to go get into your first real estate property. And it was very basic, right? But for most people in that room, like a few of them had dads or grandpas that could go teach them how to go do that. But for most people, it was actually new information.
Most people don't know.
They didn't know, right?
That's super cool.
That conference has gone on every year, and it's gotten bigger and bigger. Last year we had 500 plus people there. We had a bunch of people from outside of our space ask if they could come attend.
Wow.
And the next one, January 12th, maybe you guys can throw up a link or something.
100%.
But January 12th, we'll be doing it's called 42X. And it is a conference that's specifically designed for sales guys that don't have a pension, don't have a built-in 401k like a 9-to-5 job. Like, what can you go do to go make sure that at the end of when like your sales battery's drained, when you get to 55 years old and you have no more to give, make sure that you've built enough foundational wealth for yourself to get you through the next 30, 40 years.
I freaking love it, dude.
So
that shit fires me up, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I love, man, because like I'll say this, right? Andy always talks about there's dependable success and undependable success. If you're not trained in sales and you only thrive in a good market, you're not going to have dependable success. When the market turns, you're not always going to make money, right? I was lucky because I have been training with Andy. So I'm like in the car business, I was trained. Like even when I was making $300 per car, I figured out how to make 25, 30 grand a month. You know,
Incredible.
like I figured it out. But like you said, man, most people, like when shit's good, Andy always says, when there's an opportunity, you get a window. There's a small window in your life where you can build amazing wealth. That is right now is solar for a lot of people.
Yep.
Right? Now, if you squander it, if you spend it on dumb shit, you're going to lose it, right? So I was lucky to learn this lesson early on. Like when I got away from those guys who were like, go to the casino, I started paying more attention to Andy. Dude, save cash, don't make dumb decisions, don't buy shit you can't afford, don't try to impress people with things that don't even freaking matter. And I think
it's important to say that, like, it doesn't mean that we don't like nice things.
Exactly.
Sales guys like nice things.
Yeah.
There's just like a little bit of delayed gratification sets you up for life.
Exactly.
And that's the thing that sales guys, that's like the line that sales guys don't know how to walk, because they're so used to being able to, if I want it, I go get it. If I want it, I go get it. And just like that little bit of delayed gratification pays dividends for your entire life.
I love it, dude. I got one more question. What is like 2, 5, 10 years? What's the mission for Radix?
It's cool.
Like what's your goal for the next couple of years?
So the mission of our business is to help individuals create real wealth so they can live a life of purpose rather than one of necessity. And that's been the mission from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And it really is like, as an ownership group, our job is to go build an arena that sales athletes can come perform in, and that we're setting them up for a foundation of success so they can go do the things that matter most to them. And so any investment in that today pays you for years down the road. So we ask a lot of our guys. Our guys work really hard.
Yeah.
And the reality is we're backing that up with enough value on the back end of teaching them what to go do so that they can go have the time and have the things that they want with their families.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, that's our mission. 42 is an important number because that became the number, the goal. Our goal is to create 42 net worth millionaires at Radix.
Ooh.
So
shit, I love that. Andy says that all the time, and he says that every time we train a company. My goal is for everybody in this room to be a fucking millionaire.
There you go.
And he says that like to every company that we're really tight with, because it's such an amazing goal. You create a lot of impact, and the person those 42 individuals become along the way,
dude, that's
is what's really powerful, because they're going to realize that, you know, very few people who are mega wealthy.
You don't just land on becoming a millionaire. It's intentional.
It's intentional, yeah. And you know, like I tell people this all the time, especially guys who are in sales, because they don't get it. Because when you first start selling, you get trained kind of, at least the traditional way of sales is take. But you'll never get, when you get around wealthy people, they'll never let you buy their dinner. They'll never let you buy their lunch. They'll get pissed off at you, because it's like, the nature is giving. Like, you know, you don't, before you think about, hey, what can I take from somebody, you go, what can I give that person that'll help them change their life?
100%.
And if I do that, and with every individual I come in contact with, I guaranteed I'll be wealthy.
Yep.
Grace of God, I'll make it, right?
100%.
So I love that you teach that, dude. That's so powerful, because, you know, people, when they get to that level, they've learned that I got this not by, you know, making the wrong choices. I got here by being a good person. I got here by giving a lot of value. So
I always say, in like a little bit more of a personal recruiting meeting, I would say our goal along that isn't to create, like, money is a magnifier. Right. Our goal isn't to create 42 douchebag millionaires.
Exactly.
Like the reality is it's to go create 42 impact-driven people that live with purpose, that are doing the things that they find value in. So the last thing that I would say that we do a little bit differently is we really highlight whenever anybody onboards onto our business, they get what's called a 42 plan. It is a booklet that outlines it goes down to the very basics, but basic financial guiding principles.
I love it, dude.
Allows them to have a map of success to go get to that $1 million. And then along the way, we've highlighted 6 different mile markers.
You got me sold. If I freaking was gonna sell solar, and if somebody out there sells solar, you're a freaking dumbass if you don't work for this.
Dude, come on, hit us up. Hit us up. So we have these 6 medallions. And guys, like we go find these very specific marks, and it's been really cool because culturally, guys chase those. And at our award ceremony, we absolutely highlight the top dog, the top team, the top region, the guys that won. But the coolest part, and nobody will know until you walk into that room, is the second half of that award ceremony. We spend the second half of it highlighting guys in their wealth building journey. And we go bring them up on stage and give them this medallion for hitting a net worth of $500,000.
That's
or
fucking
for
awesome,
earning $150,000 in a year, because that's the mark that you can go start to really invest, right? So we've gone and done these different things, and now it's crazy. It's like such an emotional ride. Like, people are there.
I'm like getting like chills and like damn near tearing up just hearing about this.
Dude, they're like sitting there with their families. Last year, we brought up our first 5 millionaires. We bring them up on stage. They've now earned all of these medallions.
Yep.
This is like a little bit of shout out for my boy T, but our VP Tiago Varela, he's from Brazil. He's not even from this country. English is the second language.
That's crazy.
His whole family's at this table, and we bring him up on stage, and dude, his parents, they're just losing it,
just bawling,
like seeing their son like on that stage.
Shout out to T Money,
dude. T Money, my boy T Varela.
Let's go, big dog.
But like it's that, right? It's like helping guys get through that, and like understanding that there's steps along the way.
So powerful.
And that there's clues of success along the way. And so for us, it's just building the platform that it's the right company, it's the right culture, it's the right competitions. It's like all of these right things to go get you in a stepping stone towards becoming a net worth millionaire. So that's it.
Dude.
In the next 2 to 5 years, we'll have 42 net worth millionaires.
Yeah.
And the thing, and I'll end with this. Our CEO, he was Dave Force, my business partner.
Yeah.
He was in an interview, and they asked him, so what's the goal of the company? He said, we will become whatever the byproduct is of 42 net worth millionaires.
I love it, dude.
That's what Radix will become. If that's a company that's worth $100 million or $1 billion, so be it. Our focus will always be focused on the people
So
that work in our...
your goal is not, hey man, we're after this bottom line. Your focus is, how many lives have we changed in a dramatic way, right?
So the reality is we always have to be cautious of the bottom line.
Right.
We always have to be net driven, like net profit driven, to go make sure that we can. But that's to be able to sustain and grow the platform.
There's a saying, it's if you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want, and that's exactly what you're doing.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Like as business owners, we would not be in this doing what we're doing if there wasn't obviously something like a business there. But we know that it will get there so long as we help all of these individuals along the way.
What I love about this is there's so many companies out there that teach their people how to sell, which is very important. But they never check in on them on the back end. Hey man, you made $300,000 working for us last year. How you doing, bro?
Yeah.
How's your finances? Most of the time, those people that go from $50,000 a year to 300 are more fucked.
Yeah.
They're more stressed. They got more debt. Yeah. And God forbid something happens with whether it's the job or in their personal life and they can no longer work. They are fucked. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So that's why I want to put the spotlight on it, because it's something that no one fucking talks about either.
No.
It's like mind blowing to me that there's not hundreds of companies that are trying to emulate what you're doing. But I think it's because not a lot of people care. They didn't start with the intention of let's create 42 millionaires. They're going, how can I build a 9-figure company?
Yeah.
Right. So.
Dude, I appreciate that. It really has been like a lot of people know of Radix, but we're kind of this like little eerie business that's just like building this momentum. Yeah. And the fact that the climate in the solar industry is changing for us, we're ecstatic, because this year when a lot of companies struggled, we're up 50-60% and continuing to build momentum, because it feels like we were built for this shit. It feels like this is we've been building the foundation for a long time to go have a really disruptive year.
Freaking love that, dude. So first things first, we're gonna drop the link for the event.
Cool.
Most likely.
42X.
And then also,
January 12th.
What's like a phone number they can reach out to you? Do you wanna have them follow you, reach out, like text you or
so
something?
you can follow Radix Sales if you want to get a vibe for our company. I don't really put my number out there, but I'm going to. I'll have you text me personally, and my number is
no creeps allowed.
Yeah, no creeps. Should I do that, or is that bad?
No, you can put your phone number out there.
Okay, my number is 208-520-0448. Text me, tell me that you saw the podcast, and I can get you set up with one of our sales leaders.
Boom. Guys, you heard it here. Badass episode. Check them out. And thanks for coming on.
Dude, thanks for having me, Brandon. Appreciate it.